All right, everyone, welcome into the rundown here on WOWK Plus. I'm your host, Ryan Wilson. We've got a lot to get to. It's a big week in the world of West Virginia sports, and the only thing that matters is the Backyard Brawl between the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Pittsburgh Panthers. And we've got someone very special on here to talk about the big game. The first ever repeat guest on the rundown, Sydney Cariel from Golden Blue Nation. Sydney, thanks for making the time to join us once again. This is going to be awesome.
Wow, I feel awesome with that introduction there. First ever repeat guest. How about it? But no, Ryan, thanks so much for having me. This is a big week. We're excited.
It is a very big week. Well, before we get to that game, we might unfortunately have to do some quick hits on the game that just happened in Athens. The West Virginia Mountaineers lose to Ohio 17-10. It's their first loss to the Bobcats since 1949. You and I were both there, Sydney, covering the game. Just from what I gathered, and you can bring your 2 cents into it as well, the injuries really got to them. Jaheim White, Jaden Bray announced they were out for the season, and that kind of stalled the Mountaineers' offense.
Yeah, agreed with you 100%. And Coach Rodriguez said on Tuesday, or I guess on Monday, he said on Tuesday, Jaheim was getting surgery. So, yeah, just a bummer there. And both those injuries coming in the first half didn't help the cause. And Reed Carrico also left the game in the first quarter. I think he only got maybe 3 snaps in the game. So he left, but Coach Rodriguez said on Tuesday that he is day-to-day, Reed Carrico. So that's a little bit of positive news in the injury report section for WVU. But yeah, that game just, it was a tough watch, I think, all around for anyone who was there and any Mountaineer fans that were watching on TV.
Yeah, so kind of the reaction, the press conference from Coach Rodriguez was, not the most upbeat, and he's one to be very intense. And they, no one ever thought they were looking past Ohio or anything. It's a good team, and got Pitt coming up this week, but just feel like Ohio's defense was really something that WVU could not get past. There's not a lot of protection for Nico Markiel, and like we said, with Jaheim White going down, the running game just could not get going.
Yeah, the defense as a whole felt like they couldn't get going. They just really at all in the game, except for that first touchdown from Jaheim. The defense, I don't want to use the word struggled in the first half, but they did figure some things out at halftime and came out and shut out the Bobcats in the second half, which was good. Got 3 straight interceptions. But the problem with that is you get 3 turnovers, you got to score points off those turnovers, and WVU's offense just couldn't do it. So feel like that was kind of the story of the game is what we were just saying. WVU's offense just couldn't get anything going at all, and the defense kept them in the game, but got to score points.
Got to score points. But like we said leading up to it, this Ohio team's a good team. They won the MAC a year ago, and that's a tough place to play when it's their first time playing WVU on campus in over 70 years. So it was what a moment for them really as well. I think that's, something to touch on as well. It was a big moment for them.
Yeah. That crowd was electric. My goodness. There were so many people there. It was, that was, the environment was really cool. I would say the environment was a good college football environment. And I didn't get to see it, but I guess at the end of the game, their head coach got Gatorade dumped on him for the win. I must have been on a different part of the field, but that's cool for them.
I think it was also because it was technically his first. Well, I guess he got a win in the bowl game, but I guess it was his first regular season win with the Bobcats, and it's over WVU at home. So that kind of makes sense. All right, let's go forward now. Let's talk about it. The Backyard Brawl, West Virginia taking on Pittsburgh in Morgantown. Now, this is the last time these two teams will play until 2029. It's not an every year battle like it was back in the old Big East days. So just the excitement around the game this year. I know it's Rich Rod's first year back, and it's just the biggest rivalry against the last time, like I said. So just being around that town, the excitement must be building for the game.
Oh yeah, it's everyone. All eyes have been on this game since the schedule came out. It was they said this game was sold out, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. Stripe the stadium, all the things. So there's definitely a buzz. I mean, the Ohio loss was kind of a bummer because College Game Day was going to come here. They announced that on Saturday. They were going to come here had WVU won, because Pitt had their end of the bargain. They beat Central Michigan on Saturday. So Yeah, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but I don't think it'll take away at all from just the hype and buzz that this town has, and I think it'll start on Friday with people coming in town and tailgating and everything. So, also too, a lot of the guys on this team, it's a brand new team, so a lot of them have not experienced this before. And multiple times on Tuesday at the weekly media availability, um, like Zach Alley talked about, sure, these players didn't play in it, but they know how
Sure.
the magnitude of this game. Like everybody realizes how big this is, not just for the program, but for the state as a whole.
Well, it's also a big game. It's a big game for the state and the team, but it's also, I think, a big early season test for Rich Rod, being that his final game in 2007 was the Pitt game. It set the scene. West Virginia ranked number 2 in the country. They were going to go to the national championship had they won the game. Pitt comes in, upsets them 13-9. I don't know. I wasn't at the press conference, but probably no one asked Coach Rodriguez about it specifically, but has anyone talked about it? How like that was his last game in Morgantown? How has that been kind of brought up this week?
Yeah, Ryan, actually he was asked about it about halfway through on Tuesday. It was kind of like almost the elephant in the room situation, and just said, "Hey coach, I got to ask this." Bob Hertzel asked it, was like, "Got to just ask this real quick." And Coach Rodriguez said it was a fair question. He was like, fair question. And then said, but some of these guys weren't born yet. That's how long ago that game was. So I thought that was a little funny. But I'm going to read this quote directly because this was interesting what he said. He goes, quote, is it a sore spot when it's brought up? Yeah, it was the worst moment of my professional career from a game standpoint, and I've tried to move past it a long time ago. So from that regard, it would be good to get a win, but it's not going to ease the pain from that. It will always be there. It's a part of life. So
there you go.
That still sits in his mind, but coming away with a win this year would be maybe help it a little bit, like he said. But yeah, he did mention it, and like I said, it kind of felt like you had to ask because that's part of the storyline in this game, you know? Also, the date that this is being played on, 9/13, is
just crazy. That's the craziest coincidence in all of, because remember, this game had been scheduled for years on this date. So it's not like, oh, look at that, we're going to do this on purpose to schedule on 9/13. Like that's just the craziest coincidence of all time.
Yeah, so crazy. Oh.
Yeah, so we're going to get more into the game in just a second, but we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about last year's matchup and then kind of the rivalry itself, as well as some of the players you mentioned. Not everyone played in this game, but a couple of Mountaineers did. So we will take a break, and we'll have more coming up. Okay, welcome back to the Rundown. Ryan Wilson here with Sydney Cariel of Golden Blue Nation. Let's talk about the recent history of the Backyard Brawl between West Virginia and Pitt. Let's go back to last year's game. And I know it's a sore spot for West Virginia fans, so if you want to skip ahead, go for it. A 10-point lead for the Mountaineers with just about 3 minutes left. Pitt scores 2 touchdowns. They win the game. Was it 38-34? Do I have that right? I think it was 34-24, and then 2 touchdowns, 38-34.
Yeah, on the road, just not. Yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow there. The game was in reach. You had it. And just a bummer.
And that was maybe the last straw among the fans for Neil Brown at West Virginia, led to Rich Rod being named the coach again. But when these two teams played in Morgantown a couple years ago, it was 17-6, a West Virginia victory. And I remember that game because I covered it. It was the significant action for Nico Marchiol. Like, Garrett Green gets hurt early in the game. Nico is forced to come in. He's not had many snaps, and he steadied the offense to get them the win. So maybe I wonder if that's significant for Nico this week, remembering like, wow, that was my first big time collegiate action in front of that crowd against this team. Maybe I have to kind of replicate that.
Right. Yeah, that is a good question, and something, to wonder what's going through his head. Of course, Rich Rodriguez did not say who the starting quarterback will be this week. Jalen Henderson did get into the game last week, but he's kind of been tight-lipped about that all season, in the last 2 games. So it feels like that's nothing new. But with Nico though, if he does start, or gets into the game at some point, whatever it may be. It'll be interesting to see, to maybe have a comeback week, because last week wasn't his best, and it's not purely on him at all. And Coach Rodriguez said that after Saturday's game. The O-line didn't help with the cause much, but after coming off his career best in completions week 1, and then last week kind of having a downfall, it'll be interesting to see his comeback in this one with the crowd behind you and just that electric in the air. And yeah, I think just a good environment maybe will help boost his confidence there.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great game there as well. Again, the last time these two teams will play until 2029. Every home game in this recent 3-4 year stretch has won, so that looks good for West Virginia in terms of that. And then the rivalry itself, I mean, I've been a college football fan for a while. This one's bitter. This one is not friendly. We think of Ohio State, Michigan. You think of Auburn, Alabama. Maybe because this game didn't get played for a long time between 2011, I guess was the last time, and then
I had that break.
Yeah, then the break. It wasn't talked about, but this is fierce.
Yeah. I actually got a chance to talk to Rashid Marshall, and you could catch that interview on the Rich Rodriguez show that airs Saturday mornings at 9 a.m.
Let's plug it. Let's go.
Got it right before Mountaineer game day. It all works out. But Rashid, I asked him about how would he describe this rivalry, because you always hear the word it's intense, and it's one of the most intense rivalries in college football. It's a big game, all the things. What words would he use? And he just goes, simple, pure hatred. 2 words. That's all he needs to say. And that's a guy who grew up in Pittsburgh and obviously became a Hall of Famer here at WVU. So that goes back to his time when he played from 2001 to 2005. So yeah, like you said, it's a rich rivalry here.
And I think it's safe to say, and Coach Rodriguez has been talking about this since he's been hired, this game should be played every year.
Agreed.
And at the end of the year, too. I don't care that it's got to be. I want it in November when it's cold at either Acrisure or Milan Pushkar. I want this at the end of every year. Make it mean something, and you either go out a winner in your rivalry or it stings you for the rest of the year. Because if WVU loses this game, they've got 9 Big 12 games to still go through.
Right. And at that point in the season, having it later, you already know who this team is. Right. For the Mountaineers, they're still trying to figure out the identity of this team. Pitt might already know theirs just because they have a lot of returners from last year, which is the difference between the two teams. But yeah, I agree with you. Have it back at the end of the season. Bring back the old days.
The current coaching records in this rivalry, specifically Pat Narduzzi with Pitt 2-1 because he's only coached in these 3. Rich Rod is 4-3 from 2001 to 2007. Let's talk about the Panthers. Reluctantly, they've started 2-0 to start the year. Not the greatest schedule. Duquesne and Central Michigan. They brought back Eli Holstein. He returns as the starting quarterback. He had a great game against WVU last year. He led the team in passing and rushing. And their running back Desmond Reed, who caught 2 touchdown passes in that game, both returned. So kind of looking at Pitt, what do you think? What is the team seeing from this year's Pitt Panthers squad?
Yeah, I mean, they're continuing with that up-tempo spread offense. We were saying in the office, we're like, don't let them beat you at your own game. So, that's kind of Rich Rod's memo, that's what he does. So don't let them take that away. But like you said, Holstein is good. The Alabama transfer, he looks like he's coming off. He's playing just as well as he left off last season. Desmond Reed, their running back, is explosive. And without Jaheim White, we'll see what this WVU's running back room can do in this game. And then their receivers, Pitt's receivers are pretty good too. So it seems like they've got all their bases covered there on the offense. And their defense, I mean, last year they were 6th in the nation in sacks and 4th in tackles for loss. They're returning 3 pass rushers from last year's team. So, that's tough for WVU's offense.
Narduzzi knows defense, too. He was a longtime defensive coordinator before he got his head coaching job at Pitt. So if anything, his defense and his pass rushers are going to be ready to go. We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about what each outcome would mean. What would a win mean? What would a loss mean for WVU this season? So stick around. We will be right back. All right, welcome back to the Rundown with Sydney Cariel, still breaking down the Backyard Brawl. Let's go about the game itself this Saturday night, and this might air again after the game is over, so you can either mock us for saying how wrong we were, or you can be like, man, those two they nailed this game. So a win for WVU on Saturday, what would it mean? I think early thoughts, it would completely erase the loss from last week. No one's going to care that you lost to a MAC team. They're going to care you beat Pitt. Is that kind of the sentiment around the program, that if they win, it kind of erases all negativity that might be around the program right now?
Oh, I agree 100%. That, and I think a win would also give this team a little confidence boost, because after Saturday's loss, the way they lost and the way the offense was shut down, I think kind of took a hit to the confidence of this team. So getting back in the win column, especially over your hated rival, would be huge through the whole season. And I think for Mountaineer fans, if you look at the schedule as a whole and you see that W next to this Backyard Brawl, they're like, okay, that's fine. We're good.
That's good with me.
Yep.
I also think because this game won't be played for another 4-year stretch, WVU will have like that mental edge. Be like, last time these two teams played, they can hold this over Pitt fans' head for a while.
Yeah.
Be like, we beat you the last time we played. Y'all can talk all you want, but we won that last game.
Yeah, exactly. And, maybe too, it might get the monkey off of Rich Rod's back a little bit.
Sure.
Maybe, I don't know. Like he said that, that last game was going to sting forever, but you never know. A win will help.
Let's flip it real quick. What would a loss mean for WVU this week?
Man, it'll be, I think that's going to be a tough 24 hours to erase that feeling once again. That would be back-to-back weeks, erasing that feeling. But you're going to have to do it quick, because Big 12 play is next week. And there's really no time to sit there and mope around or, whatever. So a loss would be tough to get over fast. But I also think that leaves a lot more question marks for the season for this roster. There's already so many question marks of, who's going to replace Jaheim White moving forward? Who's going to be in place of Jaden Bray? All that kind of stuff. Who's going to be the starting quarterback, really? Some of that is still up in the air. So a loss would, I think, put up more questions than answers as we move forward.
Yeah, I just think it would show that maybe the team's still more of a work in progress in year one. It is just year one, 72 new players, or however many the number was. That will be a big factor.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about what a win would mean. How does WVU win the game? My 2 cents from seeing a couple games of them playing is just, clean, control the ball, and have the defense kind of either capitalize on mistakes or just be as stingy as they were against Ohio. They've only allowed 20 points in 2 games. Like, that's still pretty good. So just keep that kind of defensive momentum going and control the ball.
Yeah, going off of what you said, one of my keys to the game is you have to turn those turnovers into points.
Yeah.
Like we talked about at the top of the show, you get 3 turnovers against Ohio and no points were scored off of that. You got to somehow at least get 3 up there to make it worth it, and to, keep your defense, maybe give your defense a little more rest.
Yes.
I mean, that was 3 and outs so fast that the poor defense just got a sip of water and was back out there. So that was one of my big keys to the game, is you got to turn those turnovers into points. And also we need to see good play from the offensive line.
Yes.
They struggled a bit last Saturday, so hopefully they'll be able to figure out what they did wrong and what they need to correct in time for the Backyard Brawl coming up here.
Saturday at 3:30. It will be seen on ESPN, but obviously Golden Blue Nation will have the coverage of it. You'll see it there.
Yeah.
And so kind of
we have Mountaineer game day. Yeah, Mountaineer
talk
game
about what's
day
coming up. Yeah.
To get you ready for kickoff from 9 to 10 and then 10 to 11 on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. So we have an exclusive interview with Rich Rodriguez himself. He gives a little good insight of what he hopes to see from his guys in the Backyard Brawl. And then, like I said, I got to talk to Rashid Marshall and hear his perspective. He's so funny because he's like, obviously he doesn't play anymore, but he does come out of the tunnel with the team when they enter the field. And he's like, I still get the butterflies, and like, I'm ready to go. I can get out there and play. Like, pump the brakes.
That's awesome stuff. So we've got a couple minutes left here, so I want to ask you. I know you haven't been in Morgantown for years and years and years. This will be the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're going to be covering the Brawl in Morgantown. So kind of talk about
in Morgantown.
Yeah, so kind of talk about your excitement for that, what you expect to see from the crowd and just the atmosphere.
So my first home game last year was the Kansas game, which was pretty electric, but remember there was that 3-hour delay. So the first home game this year against Robert Morris, seeing that crowd and how it filled up and how loud it was, if I thought that was electric, I'm just ready for Saturday to see how loud this crowd can be. And when Sweet Caroline is played, how loud this stadium is.
Oh boy.
The Let's Go Mountaineers, that back and forth, just, hearing the echo and all that. That's just awesome. It's what college football is all about. And I don't know. I love every second of it. I can't wait for this game. My mom and dad are actually coming in town too. So their first experience as well. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I remember. I'll do quick. When I covered it last time, the game was the 7:30 kick in 2023. And I had got there at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'm thinking, I'm good. I'll be able to park. I couldn't park in the media lot. I had to park on the grass and walk and take the shuttle all the way down. I clearly wasn't there early enough to cover the game. It was that big of a deal, and just the crowd atmosphere was just awesome. Can't wait for that on Saturday night. Sydney, thank you so much for joining me here today. You guys, you and Ryan and all the crew at Golden Blue Nation, you guys do a fantastic job. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ryan. It was great seeing you at the game.
Yes.
I'll see you this Saturday for sure.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you all for joining us on the Rundown. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week. See if WVU can win the Brawl.